Hey my Novabytes, Temporal Nova and Rats here, and welcome back to my playthrough of 14 Days with you. Last we left off, we got a creepy letter from someone, and we went to the aquarium. Rather than the faint chirping of birds outside my window, it's the sound of something buzzing that rudely pulls me from my slumber. Muscle memory immediately kicks in, causing me to haphazardly throw my arm above my head and fumble around in search of the noise. When my hand lands on what I think is my phone, I groggily pull it closer to see what all the fuss is about. My boss's name flashes on the screen, causing me to awaken fully, and I unlock my phone to read his message. Library will be closed today for pesticide spraying. Bookworms are back. You will get paid. Leave. Conan. Well, that was relatively short and to the point, much like how Conan is always known to be. Though, he never really was the type to substitute letters with numbers. He was always more of a punctual type, I guess. Oh well, maybe Eleanor was giving him texting lessons again. Or perhaps his daughter Alice. Was she even old enough to text? Before I can let my mind wander, I instead busy myself with drafting a response before haphazardly throwing my phone onto the empty space near my bed and letting out a sigh. Wait, empty space? That reminds me, what happened to Ren? The last thing I remember from last night was us snuggling up on the couch together. At that, my cheeks immediately grow warm at the thought, and without so much as thinking, I reach for my phone once more to check out the security camera app he installed. I guess it was a good purchase after all, seeing as I could use all these cameras to spy on a certain pink-haired cutie, one who was hopefully still in my apartment. Looking at the app he installed on my phone, I opened it and navigated towards the camera in my living room. I see the telltale signs of my pillows and blankets on the couch, though what catches my interest is the fact that they were neatly stacked and put away, with no Ren in sight. Curious, I switched to a different camera to find him. He wasn't in my kitchen either, and not near my entryway. There was no point checking the camera in my bedroom since, well, I'm already here, which only left. As soon as I check out the camera in my hallway, it's then that I notice a familiar pair of blue jeans and a soft cardigan slumped against the wall. Was that Ren? Sitting outside of my door? What's he doing? Perhaps a bit impulsively, I sit upright in my bed and call out for him. And almost immediately, I hear the telltale signs of someone clamoring around outside my bedroom. It's shortly followed by the faint sounds of a throat clearing before a familiar patch of pink hair peeks through the gap in the door. Ren peers in and sheepishly looks at me with a soft smile before he opens the door fully and invites himself inside. Good morning, Angel. Did you sleep well? Ren looks like he wants to say something, but instead chooses to clam up and stare at his feet. I almost want to reach out and ask him to look at me, but I hold back in favor of letting him take over the initiative. Still, it doesn't stop me from calling out his name. Ren? Almost immediately, Ren's head whips up as he looks at me with wide eyes. There's a crooked smile on his face this time, and almost timidly, he shuffles on his feet as if deciding whether he can come closer. You asked me to stay last night, but then you started mumbling about not having enough room for something, so I carried you to your bedroom instead, and then you asked to join me in your bed, but then you said something about the grown-ups saying it'd be okay for me to stay, and I didn't really know what to make of that, to be honest. Crap, seriously? Was I really sleep talking about something that happened when I was a child? I remember I was sleep talking, and my mom heard me talking about cheese and crackers for whatever reason. But then I figured you really did want me to stay, so I ended up camping out in your living room. But so don't worry, nobody came into your room. Besides me, of course. And I only just woke up, actually. Right. If you still want to, I can join you, and, actually, no, never mind. Ren looks like he'll combust on the spot if he talks any longer, and as if sharing the same thought, he clams up awkwardly. He clams up. He clams up and awkwardly snatches his jaw. From that reaction alone, I have the slightest inclination as to what he wanted to ask me. Now that I think about it, would it be such a bad idea? You can come into bed with me, Ren. Were you going to ask me if you could join me in bed? Yes. No, wait. I mean, you don't mind? Because I don't mind staying here. Honest. You can't even notice the draft. And I don't mind the sunlight directly hitting my eyes at all. Come here, Ren. Almost like a puppy, he immediately makes a beeline toward me, but not before closing the door and waiting for me to lift the blankets up. I suppose that's his way of making sure I really wanted him in my bed. Aww. Not wasting another second, Ren joins me underneath the duvet and makes himself comfortable beside me. Hi. Hey, I feel like we've done this dance before. Maybe once or twice. Your bed is just as warm as last time. That's usually what happens when someone sleeps in it. I don't miss the way he pulls the blanket closer to my face with a warm smile. Funny, I sometimes do the same thing. Whenever I pull my clothes from the dryer, there's just something about the warmth and soothing scents that make me feel happy. And it makes me wonder if Ren is feeling the same. Though, admittedly, it was a bit weird knowing that they're my sheets and not his own, but Ren's eccentric nature has been growing on me these last few days. Somehow, this really doesn't faze me anymore. Ren, however, seems to have different thoughts. As if realizing what he had done just now, his eyes grow as wide as saucers before he whips his head in the opposite direction and frames interest in the wall. There is a prominent blush spreading across his cheeks as he clears his throat and pulls the blanket down again. Before I can react, my phone goes off for what I felt like the 100th time this morning, and I fish around for it once more with a groan, not bothering to look at the screen this time. I swipe my finger across the screen to answer the call. Wait, call? Hey, good morning, sleepyhead. I got something big to share with you. If it's not too much trouble, could you go to the ferry terminal? Wait. Who's in your bed? Hello? Yes, you. I can see your arm. Moth? Haruko is finally real. What? What? Hello, it's nice to meet you. Oh my god. Oh my god. Angel, hello? You seriously weren't joking. Wait, is that actually the submissive and breedable guy you were? Okay, I think we should move away from this topic. Moth, this is Ren. Ren, this is Moth. Nice to meet you, Mr. Submissive and... Moth? What does that mean? Nothing, Pookie Bear. Don't you worry. You're so innocent, Ren. Pookie Bear? Please don't ask. No, ask them. I'm having way too much fun with this. Hey, tell me, does Angel make you wear Haruko's outfit too? No. Not yet. Yet? You talked about this? No. I just... Well, if they asked, I'm sure I wouldn't say no, and... Alright, I think we're done here. Moth, didn't you say you had something important to tell me? Oh, right. Remember how I told you about that drawing raffle I won? You know, the other day when you were at that manga store? Yeah, but you got cut off near the end, though. I couldn't really make out what you were saying after our call disconnected. I did? Weird. Maybe I'm remembering things differently. Dang. Well, there's no harming in telling you again. You can hear me this time, right? With a laugh, I nod my head while Ren gives a thumbs up from behind my shoulder. Clearly, he's just as invested in our conversation. Loud and clear. Alright, drum roll please. Guess who won a free trip to New Salvas? Me, that's who. No way! I felt Ren jolt in surprise from my sudden outburst before he settles back by my side. At that, I shoot him an apologetic smile, one that returns with his own. Yes, Wei. I'm passing through Corlin Bay right now, and I figured that if you were still in the area, maybe we could... Did you want to meet up? Knowing that this could potentially be the first time I meet Moth in person, I don't bother to hide my joy and excitement. Finally, after all these years of video calls and messaging each other online, we finally had the chance to do it face to face. Before my thoughts can dwell any further, Moth interrupts in a tone equally as excited as mine. Would that be okay? I mean, the shuttle won't pick me up until tomorrow morning, so I haven't got that much planned. And I wouldn't want to intrude or anything. I know this is all so sudden, and we never actually met in person yet, or even made any plans to... Hey, it's fine. I could show you around the bay, take you to the infamous beach from Attack on Giants. Say less. It's then that I realize that Ren is still sitting next to me, peering over my shoulder while Moth and I converse. A wave of guilt washes over me, but Moth seems to step in before I can react. Oh, right. The iconic beach sense wouldn't be complete without Haruko, wouldn't it? You should bring him with you. I don't mind. My name is Ren, but if it's really alright with Angel too, I wouldn't mind tagging along. Oh, right. You're a big fan on Attack on Giants too. You remembered? I mean, yeah. I really like that anime too, so I don't mind tagging along. If it's okay with you, of course. I'd love to have you with me. Look. Ren almost slams his head against the headboard with how quickly he straightens up, as Moth snickers at his reaction in the background. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I'll seriously hang up on you. Moth teasing calms down for the moment. I send him a flux glare. Ren seems to find amusement in my words as well, given how the corners of his lips pull into the faintest of smiles. Man, who knows what you two were getting up to in bed before I called. Goodbye. Don't ever call me again. Hold on. I'll be waiting for you guys at the ferry terminal. But don't make me wait too long. Watching the ocean makes me feel nauseous. Also, I want to be the one who hangs up first. Bye. Before I can get a word in, Moth flashes me a cheeky grin and the call ends. Well then, I guess it's breakfast to go? With a smile, Ren eagerly nods his head. The salty aroma of the sea is the first thing I notice before a large ferry boat comes into view. Ren becomes a temporary second thought the moment I realize who might be on that ship, and I hurriedly make my way towards the dock where Moth is waiting. Angel! Moth! Angel! Ha ha ha! Almost immediately, Moth runs towards me with outstretched arms before pulling me into a warm hug. The excitement is almost palpable as they laugh into my ear and give me the tightest squeeze I ever experienced. They nearly swiped me off my feet too, had it not been for the potential safety hazard of swinging someone around on a slippery dock. Man, I couldn't wait to get off that thing. Never again am I going to ride on a ferry, ever. Ever. But, oh my god, you're actually here. You're real. And you're taller than I expected, too. And whoa, I love your outfit. It must be the shoes. I have to get a similar pair of... Huh. Holy crap, is that... You're joking. You're actually joking. Is this true? No way, the real-life Haruko is standing before my eyes right now. Following Moth's gaze, I noticed Ren sheepishly walking up to the both of us and stand by my side. He doesn't seem to greet Moth in any way, but just as I turn around to fully face him, Ren removes a hand from his pocket and gives a shy wave. I guess I've gotten so used to Ren being more forward around me that I almost forgot about his reserved side. It's nice to meet you again, and I get that a lot. It must be my shoes as well. Yeah, the shoes. Moth, you haven't even looked down yet. Do I need to? Everything I need is right here in front of me. And crap, did I say that out loud? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You can't blame me when I got the real-life Haruko standing in front of me right now. Where'd you get your hair done? Can you save me from a giant? Do you need a spouse? God, I've seen what you've done for others. Moth. I'd never seen them so animated before. It's hard to believe that this was the same Moth who always shies away from social situations. Sorry, I'll try to tone it back. Keyword being try here. But for real, though, thanks for coming out and meeting me like this. I know it's really last minute. Not at all. I had nothing planned for today anyway, and I'm glad Ren was willing to tag along. Of course, I like making you happy. Ugh, he really is, Haruko. Oh, it's Ren, and I guess, well, apart from the hair, I suppose it's just a major coincidence that Haruko and I happen to act the same. It's one of the reasons why he's my favorite character, actually. It's hard to miss the way Ren looks at me when he mentions Haruko as his favorite, but it happens all too quickly that I fear it just might be a trick of my imagination. Yeah, I like him because he's hot. Plus, he whimpers and pouts in the most cutest way whenever he's upset. I almost laugh at the way Ren's eyes widen at Moth's words. Also, have you seen him in the latest episode? I swear, the animators knew what they were doing before they ripped his uniform. Wait, I haven't seen it yet. Don't spoil it. Oh, crap. Sorry. My bad. But hey, if you got the time, why don't we all watch it together later? It sounds like fun, don't you think, Angel? I wasn't expecting Ren to join in, much less witness Moth be so social with someone. But then again, much like me, Moth has been obsessed with Attack on Giants since it first came out. So it made sense for them to be able to gush about it without any restraint. Plus, it was nice to see Moth having fun. So who was I to put a stop to it? Speaking of, did I tell you the reason I'm here in the first place? Well, you know, about that one anime convention being held in New Salvis. They were hosting this OAG art contest online. So naturally I joined and won. So now I get to go to the convention for free, and I get to have a one-on-one time with all the voice actors. I mean, come on. I finally get the chance to talk to the voice actor for the voice actors of Particle. This is like a dream come true. I wonder if I can get him to say he wants to marry me. Wait, why didn't I know about this? Yeah, now that you mention it, it is kind of strange how you never said anything to me. You must be really busy with work, huh? Work? I guess you could say that. However, with everything that's been happening recently, I'm not entirely sure I can blame my distractions on my job. And I love Attack on Giants. It's weird how I never got any recommendations or ads for the convention online. Huh. So much for personalized feeds. Well, don't worry about it too much. I'll be sure to buy you all the Hottergold charms I can find. I mean, I still owe you, don't I? Besides, the convention isn't until tomorrow, and we still got an entire day to kill. Didn't you say you wanted to show me some of the sights here? Ah, you remembered. Well, since we're all here already, why don't we start with the main beach? Oh, but you really don't like the water, do you? Maybe we can just... They don't? Yeah. Though it's not really the water that gets to me. It's what's lurking beyond. Unknown creatures, ships, and planes that go missing for no reason. Endless depths that have yet to be explored. Yeah, nope. Not for me. Oh, and I almost drowned as a kid. What? Unfortunately for you, you'll need to unlock my level 80 friendship to hear that one. Now, what did you say about a beach? After what happens in the latest episode, I hope to get to see Haruko's glorious butt imprint in the sand. Please don't look at me when you say that. You're a bit obsessed, Moth. Bit of a walk, huh? From the ferry terminal? Yeah, it's not that far from my place, though. Wait, for real? You live around here? See that building over there? The tall one? Ren quickly moves out of the way as Moth squints in the direction I'm pointing at. It takes them a moment, but their eyes finally land on one building in particular before they turn to me with a concerned look. The one with the ratty sign that's about to fall off its hinges? Yeah, that one. Oh, it's, nice? Not too shabby, but dang, it's really close to the beach, huh? I bet you get a good view of the ocean from up there. Actually, the main street blocks might... Angel and Ron, hey, right? Hey. A familiar voice calls out from somewhere behind us before Jay emerges from one of the buildings and jogs towards us with a bounce in his step. It's Ren. Oh crap, sorry. So it's Ren, huh? Ren. Alright, I stored that in my brain. I could have sworn I heard Leon call you Ron, though. But it's not important right now. What are you guys doing out here so early? I thought you had work today, Angel. I actually got the day off today. My boss said something about bookworms, I think. So I'm spending the day showing my friend Moth around Cortland Bay. They're new here. Now that you mention it, yeah, your friend does kind of have that touristy look about him. So your name's Moth, huh? Such a cool name. I'm Jay Hewen. Feel free to call me Jay, though. That's so much easier to remember, right? Though, I totally won't blame you guys if you start calling me Joe or something. I mean, think about it. Ron and Joe, an unlikely duo on the hunt for more hair dye. Hair dye? Yeesh, tough crowd today. Alright, I almost forgotten how shy Moth gets around people they don't know. Unlike talking to strangers online, there was no safety or comfort in having a screen to hide behind in real life. Part of me wonders if this might be the reason why they seem so out of place right now. But this isn't the time to ask. and I didn't want to make Moth feel any more uncomfortable than they already were. So, were you guys heading to the beach too? I heard the swell is going to be good today. We are, actually. I wanted to show Moth the infamous Giant's Cove. Nice! Here's hoping there won't be too many tourists there today. It's still early, so maybe they're all... Oh, wait. Are you going dressed like that? Like, what? Come on! Two of you are wearing jeans, and the other has two sweaters on. That's totally not beach appropriate. If you want, I got a spare pair of swim trunks in my bag you can borrow for the dip. Why don't I buy us some swimsuits instead? There's a beach stand just over there. Oh, you don't have to. Besides, I don't think Moth would want to go too deep into the water. It's fine. I won't be long. Before I can respond, Ren is already bouncing toward the nearby stall to pick out some swimsuits, leaving me alone with Ren and with Moth and Jay. Well then. He must be really excited about visiting the cove too, huh? Well, if you guys want to try out surfing later, come and find me. I'll be hanging out here all day. Theo and Leon might even show up later if you want to meet even more of Angel's totally cool and handsome friends. I couldn't help but playfully roll my eyes at Jay's antics. I think we'll pass, but you're heading to the beach already. Oh, you want me to stay? Aw, shucks, Angel. Never mind. See ya. With a gentle shove, I usher Jay in the direction of the beach with a smile. His boisterous laughter slowly fades off as he waves goodbye to Moth and me. It was nice meeting you, Moth. Tell Ren I said bye. He's really nice. He is. In the end, I find myself listening to Moth's lore dump about an anime while we wait for Ren to return. And when he does, he comes back with a bunch of bathing suits, towels, and a beach bag bustled up in his arms. He wastes no time in handing me a swimsuit, and before I can tell what's happening, he's already ushering me toward the changing stall and promising to watch the door from outside. A small part of my brain picks up on the fact that the swimsuit is in my exact size, but I put on the back burner for now so I can focus on changing out of my regular clothes. When I look at the items Ren got me, I notice that, what is it? I'm more of a conservative guy. It doesn't show any of my skin. The design of the front somewhat resembles my cute aesthetic, and it makes me wonder if that was the reason why Ren intentionally picked it out for me. He also seemed to understand that I don't normally show off much of my skin in public, and especially when it comes to wearing a swimsuit at the beach. And while it was greatly appreciated, it did come across as a bit odd. I mean, how did he even know this about me? Did I mention it in passing at some point? Whatever. I'll make a mental note of it. I'll make a mental note to ask him about this later. I can still hear Moth moving about in the stall next to me, alongside the rustling of the fabric and a few expletives. So I take my time changing, but it doesn't take long before I'm fully dressed and ready to throw myself into the ocean. As if to kill time and give everyone else a few more minutes to get dressed, I stuff my regular clothes in my bag extra slowly and open the door, only to find Ren still waiting for me on the other side. All done? That was quick. Guess it's my turn now, huh? It's then I notice that there's only 2 stalls available, and that Ren really was taking his guarding job seriously. You know what? Ren deserves some privacy. You can use my stall, Ren. All yours, babe. At my words, Ren's cheeks immediately flush a deep red as he draws closer to me and almost trips over his own feet. You are? All mine? Yeah, you are my boyfriend, aren't you? But I was actually talking about the stall, Ren. But boyfriend... I mean, right. The stall. Mine, or... His face looks... yeah. Lots of love there. My turn. In the stall. Me. It's almost enduring watching the way his cheeks puff and pouts at his fumble. Ren makes sure to keep direct eye contact with the ground instead of me as he passes by, but he turns around at the last minute and peers at me from behind the door. You really were talking about the stall, right? Actually, never mind. Before I can respond, Ren slams the door shut and hides his flushed expression from me. I can still hear you two, you know. Hi, Moth. Yeah, whatever. You guys better hurry up. I'm almost done here. What will Ren's swimsuit will look like? I'm actually interested in that. The walk to the beach is nothing short of eventful, and soon enough we find ourselves at the entrance to the infamous Giant's Cove. Moth can barely contain their excitement as they take in the familiar scenery before them, and I don't miss the way they start to babble about the striking similarities between the beach scene from OHE and the current scene laid out before them. I already visited this cove enough times for the excitement to wear off, but watching Moth have the time of their life right now only seems to hype me up even more. When I look back at Ren to see whether he was feeling the same, I find that he's already starting to stare at me with a soft look in his eyes. He reaches out a hand to me, but just as he was about to say something, Moth cuts him off. They actually built a monument for Attack on Giants here? That's so cool. Oh wait, I didn't want to save. Nice compression shirt, Ren. Ooh, maybe we should take a photo to commemorate. Here. In a blur, Moth excitedly shoves their phone into Ren's hands and tugs me towards the stone statue made in Haruko's likeness. One of their arms hooks over my shoulder to pull me closer to their side, and I can feel their smile grow the moment they press their cheek next to mine. Ren, however, seems to have a bout of confession as he takes in the scene in front of him, before he snaps out of his daze and lifts Moth's phone to take a photo. The camera flashes every time he takes a picture, but after the 7th flash, Moth decides that's enough and signals for their phone back. Ooh, let's see the results. When I peer over Moth's shoulder, I see that the photos Ren took were actually kind of bad. Although the statue and I were perfectly in the frame, Moth seemed to be cut out entirely, with only the arm around my shoulder making the shot. Hey, what about me? You're right there, see? My arm, you mean? Yeah. That doesn't count. Here, take another one. This time, Moth curls their arm around my waist and leans closer to my side. I don't miss the way Ren's eyes widen, nor the way he takes a second too long to take the photo, but I chalk it up to him being surprised at Moth's sudden clinginess. Was he jealous because we didn't have any pictures of these of our own? Before I can think about it any further, Ren's voice grabs my attention. There, better? When Ren hands the phone back to Moth, they hunch over the screen and look over everything with a critical eye. It's almost comical watching them zoom in and out to scrutinize every little detail, but I figured it'd be best to leave them to their own devices once I see them open up the photo editing app. No doubt to cover our faces with AOG stickers before they share it in their family group chat to boast. Turning to my side, I look at Ren with a teasing expression. What about you, Buttercup? Huh? Don't you want a photo to commemorate this moment as well? Without waiting for a response, I playfully pull Ren's phone from his pocket and aim it at my pink-haired companion. Ah! Ren immediately covers part of his face with his hand, but quickly realizes that he isn't wearing his thick cardigan, so the sleeves on his rash guard hardly do much to hide his growing embarrassment. Cute and strong as always, Ren. He seems almost camera-shy with the way he turns from me with a soft blush on his cheeks, though he doesn't complain when I start to take a few pictures of my own. In fact, Ren appears to revel in all the attention I'm giving him with the way he indulges in my requests with a warm smile. Feeling a sudden surge of confidence, I reach out my hand expectantly and gesture for Ren to place his cheeks against mine. Huh. He wastes no time in leaning down, pressing his face against my hand, and nuzzling into my touch. Ren almost looks like a cute puppy like this, and I find myself taking a few more pictures to savor the tender moments. Though, admittedly, the eye contact he's giving the camera feels a bit intimate, but I brush it aside for the sake of my rapid heartbeat. If I send these to you, will you make it your lock screen? Ren, can you come here for a sec? I need you to compare hairstyles with the statue. My brother thinks Haruko's hair isn't fluffy enough, but I sniffle my laughter at Ren's confused look as Moth continues to rant while they tug him towards the Haruko statue. I look away the moment they ask him to start posing, and it's then I realize I still have his phone in my hands. But just as I move to return it to its rightful owner, the screen immediately lights up and starts to vibrate. Perhaps it's muscle memory kicking in from all the times my phone would go off, but I found myself unconsciously lifting it up to look at the screen before realizing what I had just done. What did you do? Everything is back to normal again and it's weird. Who did you offer? Crap. What exactly are you doing right now, Angel? I shouldn't be reading through someone else's private notifications like this, and yet I couldn't help but feel... Okay. Well, that's all to save, so I'll just start from over... I don't know, here. I feel fine. Let's hang out with Ren a little longer. What was I thinking reading private messages like this? Ren didn't deserve to have his privacy disregarded like this. With a resolute nod, I make my way towards the group and call for Ren's attention. Angel, sorry. Did you want to take more photos as well? Here, I'll move out of the way. Actually, I was thinking about heading to the manga store to check out some of the new merch. Do you want to join us? Oh, and here's your phone. That sounds like a good idea. Here, I'll go get our bags while you finish taking your photos. Let me know when you're ready to go. Almost like a puppy, Ren bounds off toward our belongings and starts to pack them up with a blissful smile on his face. Man, he really is just like Haruko. I want him to turn into a sticky hand so I can repeatedly throw him against a wall over and over again. Your levels of cuteness aggression generally terrify me sometimes. The sounds of lively chatter and vehicles driving by grow louder as we make our way towards the main street. Strange. Everything seems so busy and chaotic today. Was there some kind of event going on? I doubt it, considering Eleanor and I were both in charge of keeping the library's community board up to date. I would have known if there was an event happening. But before I can dwell on it any longer, I suddenly find myself being thrust forward and onto the road by an unknown force, before Ren reaches out a hand to pull me back. Ugh. Once the initial shock wears off and I gather my bearings, I whip my head around to figure out what or who tried to push me. But it proves difficult with Ren's large frame blocking my view, so I remove his hand from my shoulder and sidestep around him. When I do, I come face to face with a dark hooded figure who doesn't even bother to acknowledge our existence. What the? This loser really tried to push me into oncoming traffic and walk off as if nothing had happened? Wait. Was this the person Violet was talking about? The tall build, the hooded jacket. The only thing that's missing is the crazy amount of belts on their leg. So this was my stalker? I have half a mind to just pull down their mask and hoodie to expose their identity. But I didn't want to cause a scene or make matters worse. Ren, however, seems to have other plans. Before I can react, he surges toward the hooded stranger with a nasty scowl on his face. What's your problem? Not even going to apologize? When no response comes, Ren reaches for their shoulder to get their attention. All it did is cause them to turn around slightly before they shrug off and break into a sprint. Everything happened in a blur, and as the smudge of black fades from my view, Ren's pink hair replaces it as he gently grips my arm to ground me. It would have been nice if Ren punched that douche. Are you alright? Did they hurt you? Concern and worry couldn't even begin to describe the ranges of emotions present on his face. Ren peers even closer when I don't respond to his questioning. And in that moment, I find myself too stunned to speak. All of my attention goes toward the warmth radiating from his sudden closeness and the soft blue eyes peering into mine with so much worry. I feel Ren's fingers press deeper into my shoulders, not enough to hurt me, but present enough to anchor me, as he pulls me even closer towards his chest. I feel safe being surrounded by his concerned presence, and it was nice to know that he cared so much for my well-being, so much so that he willingly picked a fight with some stranger for a simple apology. But the moment only lasts for so long before I realize he's trying to get me to respond. Angel, what's wrong? You okay? Eh? Did you know them or something? No, and I'm fine. They just scared me, that's all. This has never happened to me before. You sure? Are you sure you're fine? You're still shaking. Want to sit down? Should I call the cops or something? I can barely hear Moth's words over the rapid sounds of my heart beating and the ringing in my ears. I wasn't able to see that person's face because of their mask, but their scent. I could recognize that smell anywhere. It was something unmistakably earthy and muddy, and it felt oddly familiar in some way. Before I can let my thoughts travel any further, I notice my friends are still staring at me with concerned looks. Not wanting them to worry, I masked my fear with a determined glint in my eye and tried to ease their mood. Maybe we should head home instead. Sure, but are you sure you're alright? You still seem a bit dazed, Angel. Yeah, I'm fine. We should probably get off the street, though. I suppose peak hour is starting soon. That might explain why why they were in such a rush. Still, it wouldn't hurt to apologize for bumping into someone. Well, whatever. You said you wanted to head home? They did, so where did you want to go, Angel? If you like, we can go to my apartment. It's not far from there. But you already know that, don't you? Or we could go back to your place if you prefer. We'll go to... Mm, we'll go to Ren's place. Somehow, I felt a lot more comfortable going back to Ren's apartment instead of my own. I don't want to risk Moth's safety either, so I try my best to convince myself that this really was a good idea after all. With a resolute nod of my head, I turned to Ren with a meek smile. Would it be alright if we go to your apartment? Yes, of course. It's totally fine. It's not far from here anyway. Moth still seems a bit peeved by the person who bumped into me, but they still nod their head at my question. Alright then, let's go. Soon, we all arrive at Ren's apartment. The elevator ride to his floor was just as slow and tacky as last time, yet Moth doesn't seem to mind it in the slightest. In fact, they seem to be wholly engrossed with their surroundings, much like I had been the very first time I visited Ren's place. Stepping aside, I noticed that my slippers from last time were waiting by the door, and the sight alone sends a wave of appreciation through my body. Did Ren leave these out for me? As cheesy as it sounds, it almost feels like coming home to my own apartment. But it's Moth's awestruck voice that pulls me back to the present, and I watch in silence as they take in the scene before them. Funny, was this how I looked when I first arrived here? Oh my god. What kind of entryway is this? And is that marble flooring? Dude, you could afford this much marble? I didn't buy it. It came with this apartment. And so did the rest of the furniture, or most of it. That's a whole lot of marble. I literally said the same thing, right? Look at all this. It's just marble? Jeez, I guess I skipped the episode where Haruko becomes a millionaire. Like I said, I'm not Haruko. I'm Ren. Are those Ducci slippers? Since when could you afford those? Huh? These? They belong to Ren. He let me borrow them the first time I came here. Oh, are there any spare slippers for Moth too? I'll have a look. You have more than one pair? Crap, sorry. I probably shouldn't be so loud, huh? You're fine. Ren doesn't have any neighbors. Or at least he didn't until recently, I think. Heh, sure sounds like you're really used to living here, huh? So, when are you moving in? No, now that I think about it, the idea is rather tempting. Ren already seems fine with the idea of being my boyfriend. Surely he'd enjoy being my roommate too. But before I can get carried away with these fantasies, I remind myself why I'm purposely trying to distance myself from Ren in the first place. I didn't want him to get involved in my personal problems, nor did I want to give my stalker any more ammunition to use against me. In fact, I mean, look at all the space. If you won't live here, I will. How many rooms are there? How many kitchens does this place have? Is there a cinema room? Ooh, what about... Here, try and see if these fit you. Ren's voice cuts Moth's off as he throws a pair of shoes onto the ground. Oh, they're a little tight around the toes, but comfy. That's too bad. I don't have any other sizes. You know, they look like they might fit better on me, actually. Here, want to swap? Moth's slippers definitely appear smaller than the pair I'm currently wearing, but they don't look too uncomfortable. That much is evident when we swap, and Moth seems to be feeling all the more better in a larger pair of slippers. If their wide, appreciative smile was anything to go by. You don't mind? Not at all. Actually, maybe I do have another pair that'll fit you better. I, eh, here, I'll go and check again. It's cool, Ren. Don't worry about it. As we made our way into the living room, Moth suggests ordering takeout so that we can eat while catching up on the recent episodes of Attack on Giant. It's almost comedic watching Ren and Moth huddle over a phone to look through the menu, and I nearly end up letting a laugh slip through when they start bickering over the meal deals not being that good of a deal. That happens to me sometimes. Sometimes I insert a code that's supposedly available, and then it's not. Deals suck sometimes. Leaving the two of them to their own devices, I plop onto the couch with a sigh and absent-mindedly clutch one of the throw pillows. Odd. I swear I had the exact same cushions on my couch back at home. Did Ren and I always have the same taste in decor? And since when did Ren start decorating his apartment? Last I checked, everything in here came pre-furnished, tacky decor and all. Before I can get too deep in my thoughts, Moth and Ren joined me on the couch once more to fill me in on what they ordered, and what they got for me as well. Moth seems all too happy to talk about the fried rice dish they ordered, before rambling about how most fast food joints never usually have it in stock, all while Ren gets his television set up for us. The next thing I know, we're almost 2 episodes deep until our food arrives. It takes another 3 more before we're all finished with our meals. And soon enough, Moth is relaxing on the floor with a bunch of pillows surrounding them while Ren and I remain on the couch. Here we go, it's finally beach episode time. You guys have to see the outfit the animators put on him. It wasn't in the manga, but I still think it's cool. Wait, we should turn the lights off for maximum effect. Moth's voice fills the silence as they get up, flick off the light switch, and start to pump themselves up for the opening song. Yet my mind can't help but wander towards today's events. I couldn't shake off the encounter from earlier, or the fact that I now had solid proof of a stalker who wouldn't leave me alone. Still, going to Ren's place was definitely a smart idea. There's an entire team of security personnel down at the reception, and you need a specific keycard to make it past the front floor, or first floor. Now knowing this, I wouldn't have to worry about Moth's safety as much, and for some reason, well, I don't know why, but I always seem to feel a lot better whenever Ren is around. Speaking of, I cast a sneaky glance in Ren's direction, only to find him sprawled out on the couch. He'd offered to share his blanket earlier, after I offered mine to Moth, and I couldn't help but notice how much of it he'd given it to me. In fact, only half of his leg was covered, and with winter right around the corner, I was worried he was too shy to admit that he was feeling cold. Without thinking, I lean over and gently drape a portion of the blanket across Ren's lap in an attempt to offer him some warmth. But as I do, my hand inadvertently brushes against the back of his, and it is then that I notice just how cold his skin feels. A surge of concern washes over me, and I have half a mind to reach out to grasp his hands in my own. But Ren's immediate reaction keeps me rooted in place. Almost shamelessly, his gaze shifts towards me before he sends me a curious look. And when he finally speaks, his voice is barely above a whisper, almost getting drowned out by the noise coming from the television. "It's okay, Angel. You can have it." I'm not the one with frozen hands. What kind of person would I be if I let my boyfriend's hands go cold? Not giving Ren any time to respond, I reach out and gently cup his freezing hands into my own. But your hands are cold too. Ren, shh. We both glance in Moth's direction for any signs of disruptions, but they seem far too engrossed with whatever is happening on the television to fully turn around. You're cold. I should have noticed earlier. Here, I'll go turn up the heat. No, it's okay. Here, why don't we... I do get cold easily. Let's snuggle up together. Eleanor told me it's more effective to stay warm by sharing body heat. Why don't we sit a bit closer? Closer? Yeah, sure, okay. Ren, seriously, quiet. Without missing a beat, I throw the blanket over our shoulder and scoot closer to Ren until my arms and thighs are brushed up against his. But Ren takes it a step further by pulling my legs over his lap and resting one of his hands over my knee to prevent them from falling. And just as I dare to take a glance in his direction, Moth chooses now, of all times, to turn around and talk to us. Finally, we got to see Haruko. I doubt that they realized what Ren and I were currently doing in the dark. In fact, Moth seems all too engrossed with the TV as Haruko's grand entrance flashes on the screen. Yet, I couldn't help but let my mind wander toward Ren. Being this close to him, I can practically feel the warmth radiate from his body. Yet, all I can focus on was the way his thumb rubbed small circles on my knee while his other hand plays with the loose material of my bottoms. Almost daringly, I sneak a glance in his direction, only to find him staring at me with a gentle expression of his own. I thought you wanted to watch the beach episode. I am. The TV is that way. With a teasing smile, Ren points towards the television, though the look in his eye practically challenges me to look away. Okay, here we go. We're going to the beach now. There on the television, in all its glory, is the iconic Giant's Grove we visited earlier today. And Moth can barely contain their excitement. Oh my god, look! There's the massive rock arc we saw. Dang, they really did take a whole lot of inspiration from Forlin Bay. They're not shy with the way they langily flop onto the carpet and pull one of the cushions to their chest to get more comfortable. But the moment is fleeting, as Haruko soon appears on the screen in a magical pink flurry. Almost instantly, Moth rolls onto their stomach instead, kicking their legs and practically melting over the side of Haruko in a swimsuit. His muscles, look, oh, I yearn to lick the crevices of his... Okay... Suppressing a laugh, I glance at Ren, who seems to be sporting a worried, yet just as flushed look on his features. And here I thought your fondness for Haruko was unmatched. Those are some big words coming from someone who's rocking the same hairstyle as him. Oh, what does that mean? Hey, what are you two whispering about over there? Let's just move closer. I'll save right here. We're just wondering if Haruko's outfit is going to Angel? Deciding to see just how far I can take things, I practically situate myself in Ren's lap without another word, and judging by his outburst, I know I didn't need to turn around to see how red his cheeks were. Jeez, you just can't seem to get your hands off your boyfriend, huh? Though, if I had a partner who vaguely looked like Haruko, I'd probably do the same. Yeah, I'd actually do the same, actually. Well, whatever. You two can get all cozy over there. Just try not to hit me with your feet. I can feel Ren's legs move from under me, almost as if he wanted to go through with Moth's threat, before he ultimately reconsiders. Instead, he wraps his arms around my waist and nuzzles into his head into the crook of my neck. This is just trying to keep warm, right? Is it working? I think you need to be closer. I don't think that's physically possible, Ren. If it was true, I was basically ensnared by his lanky limbs, with barely any room left to move around. You would have to manipulate your matter in order to move closer. With the way Ren's arms were circled around my waist and how his thighs cage my own on either side, I could do very little except sit there and try to focus on the screen. In the end, we all blazed through the latest episode of Attack on Giants, and even a few Me Too theory videos, before the events of the day slowly started to catch up to us. Moth was the first to let out a yawn, and eventually the rest of us fell victim to it as well. I didn't want to leave the warmth of Ren's body, but the thought of a comfy bed with plenty of legroom was calling my name. And before I knew it, Ren was already showing us to our rooms with a bright smile on his face before he leaves Moth and I alone to decompress. As I step into my own room, I notice that it's just as gaudy and extravagant as the rest of the apartment, furnished with the most ornate decor and bold color choices I ever seen. But just when I think it couldn't get any worse, I survey the rest of the room and come face to face with the most unfortunate revelation. It didn't come with its own bathroom. Even my apartment has a bathroom in my bedroom. Dang it. With a grumble, I step back into the dark hallway, borrowed toothbrush and clothes in hand, and prepare myself for the inevitability of getting lost in Ren's endless maze of an apartment. All of this for a single bathroom. I have no doubt that this place has at least 4 restrooms, but the chances of me finding even one seems laughable. Stumbling around yet another corner, I come across Moth, hunched over in front of a door with a frown on their face. Moth? Whoa. Sorry, were you looking for the restroom too? Nah, my room has a private in-suite. I'm actually looking for something else. A private what? Where was mine? I'm looking for Ren's cosplay room. His? Wait, hold on a second. Are you snooping? Moth. Shh, I'm not snooping. I'm just trying to find out where he keeps all of his Attack on Giants merch. I'm sure a small peek won't hurt. I watch as Ren reaches for the door once more, only to meet with an audible click and a stiff handle. Oh, dang it, locked. Well, what did you expect? Huh, maybe he has a spare key somewhere. You're not seriously still thinking about going through his stuff. And never mind that, this place doesn't use physical keys anyway. You have to use a key card to access everything. Ren explained it to me a while ago. So, does that mean you have one? I'm not going to snoop through his stuff. You won't, but what if I do? Moth? Angel? Come on. What if he's one of the lucky people who's got a Haruko limited edition sword? You're seriously not interested, even the slightest bit. I prefer figurines, actually. Okay, so maybe I was a little tiny minuscule bit curious, but that spark of interest didn't justify breaking into a locked room without the other person's knowledge. And while it technically wouldn't be breaking in if I used a keycard to unlock the door, Ren still trusted me enough to give me one. Not Moth, me. Look, instead of breaking in, why don't you go ask Ren first? I'm sure he wouldn't mind giving you a full tour of his collection, even if he even has one. You got a point. And why didn't I think about that? Think about what? All of a sudden, Ren appears from behind one of the dark hallways and scares the living crap out of us. Whoa, hey, Pookie Wookie. We were just... Moth had wanted to look at your Haruko collection. Oh, hey! In that room? Why would I... Oh. Well, this is a bit embarrassing, but This room isn't... It's not finished yet. It's a mess. A mess? What's he talking about? Once it's more presentable, I'll be sure to invite you back and give you the full tour. Right, sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. Ah, he truly is the real-life embodiment of Haruko. And wait, did he have a line similar to that in the manga? Moth must have been on the same wavelength as me, since their mood immediately shifts from embarrassment to excitement before they shoot me a look as if to say, "You heard that too, right?" But before I can respond, Ren cuts me off with a timid laugh. Anyway, was there anything else you needed? I was looking for a bathroom earlier. They needed to pee so badly. Hey! Oh, but calling me out for wanting to see Haruko's collection was fine, huh? The bathroom? Of course. It's just down the hall near the kitchen. Here, I can show you. Follow me. Leaving Moth to their own devices, I quickly catch up to Rin and follow him down the hallway. Soon enough, the events of the day slowly catches up and leaves me feeling tired and drained. Man, today had been a lot, huh? But just as I settle into bed, I hear a faint knock coming from the door. Was it Rin? I let out a faint "come in" and wait for my visitor to emerge. To my surprise, it's Moth that appears from behind the door with a sheepish smile on their face. Hey, I didn't wake you up, did I? Sorry, I just found it hard to fall asleep when everything is quiet. I'm used to my younger siblings bickering in the room next door, or hearing someone playing video games downstairs. Do you mind if can I chill with you for a while? I promise I'll sleep in my own bed later. Without missing a beat, I lift the covers and pat the spot next to me, and with a relieved smile, Moth crawls into the bed and lets out a faint hum once they sink into the mattress. They seem content laying on their back, so I do the same and look up at the ceiling. The silence that follows is momentary, seeing as Moth soon speaks once more, only this time their voice was much softer than before. Thanks for today, eh? No one's really going to go out of their way to make me feel... No one's really gone out of their way to make me feel so included. Seen? I'm not really sure what word I'm trying to look for, but I really appreciate everything you've done. You of all people know that I don't have many friends, and I've probably been a jerk to Jay earlier, but I want to know that I think he's really cool. I have trouble talking to people, but I'm glad I get along with you and Ren this easily. I have trouble socializing too, don't worry, Moth. Oh yeah, you don't seem to have any trouble talking to Ren. Probably because his personality reminds me so much of Haruko. Though I didn't think the whole light academia fashion would suit him, but weirdly enough it kinda does. Honestly, it's like Ren walked straight out of my dreams or something. I mean, he's practically a walking amalgamation of all of my recent interests. Must be all the manifesting you've been doing in our DMs. Oh please, manifesting? I think you're the one who's been doing all that. I mean, you always ask for Haruko to be real, and look what happened. True, but I distinctly recall asking for him to be my husband as well. I guess whoever was listening missed that part. Manifest harder. Moth can't seem to contain their laughter at my words, and they end up clamping a hand over their mouth to silence their sounds, lest they wake Ren up. The corners of their eyes crinkle as they turn to look at me with a smile, and I find myself mirroring their expression. Good night, Angel. Thanks for today. Night, Moth. At that, they roll onto their back once more and pull the covers up to their chin. The silence returns once more, and I'm left to stew in my own thoughts. Today had honestly been a lot of fun. Plus, it was nice to know Moth enjoyed themselves this much. I have no doubt that I'll be sad once they leave this for the city tomorrow, but I didn't want to ruin this moment with my sappy feelings. With one last smile, I turn on my side and I slowly drift off to sleep. And that's the end of the demo. I really am invested in this story. This was Temporal Nova and Rats. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like our content, please consider liking and subscribing as it helps us a lot.